Hey guys, so today I'm going to be going over the reading goals that I had for 2017 and seeing which of them that I met and how I did with those. I did kind of like a bookish resolutions video at the start of the year, which I will link down below in case you want to go back and watch that if you didn't see it at the beginning of the year. But overall I've had a really great year, and I just want to thank you guys for watching my videos throughout the year, or like whenever you started watching them, even if it was just like today, right now, this one is the first one. Thank you guys for an awesome year. It's been really fun. I've got a lot of reading done, and the first goal that I'm going to go over is my Goodreads goal. So I aimed to read 80 books over the 2017 year. As of right now, I've read I think 108 books, and that's not including rereads because I don't put rereads on my Goodreads thing. It just like gets too confusing for me. So yeah, reading 108 books in the year, I'm happy with that. My next goal was to read 12 classics throughout 2017. So I wanted to read about one a month, but not necessarily one every month. I just wanted to read 12 classics over the course of the entire year. I pretty much just wanted to read more classics. Classics, as you guys might know, is one of my favorite genres, but it's one that, especially during 2016, I kind of took a step back from because I was getting up to date with all of the YA that BookTube is really crazy over. So it was something I hadn't read a lot before, so I ended up not reading as many classics as I like normally would. And this year I ended up reading 13 classics, not including rereads, which I'm super happy with. It was definitely more than I read in 2016, I think. And yeah, I love reading classics, so it's been really fun. There were a lot of little black classics in that mix, which are like definitely shorter. So that really helped bulk up that number a bit, but overall I'm really happy with the amount of classics that I read. My next one was one that I thought would be really hard, and that was to read 12 books throughout the year by New Zealand authors. And when I set this goal, I didn't really have a lot of books by New Zealand authors in mind that I wanted to read, but I've come across a lot over the last year, especially during Non-Fiction November. There were a lot. I've also discovered an author called Elizabeth Knox who wrote Awake, which was a 5-star read for me, and Dream Hunter, which is like a 4.5-star read. So I'm definitely going to try and read some more of her books. I read a few New Zealand books for uni, so overall I ended up reading 11 books by New Zealand authors over the entire year, which I'm super happy with. It's so close to 12. Like, I didn't quite make my goal, but I definitely did a lot better with that than I thought I would, and it inspires me to know that I read so many books by New Zealand authors and I really enjoyed a lot of them, so that's been really cool as well. My fourth reading goal was to finish reading the Shadowhunters series, so like all the different series. I was about halfway through the Mortal Instruments at the start of this year, and incredibly I have caught up a whole lot. I can't believe it was only the start of this year that I had only started reading the Mortal Instruments. Like, that's crazy to me because now it feels like so long ago that I read that series, but it was only the start of this year, so that's insane. I didn't even realize this was one of my goals this year because it feels like so long ago. So I finished reading the Mortal Instruments series. I read Tales from the Shadowhunter Academy, I read the Shadowhunters Codex, I read the Bane Chronicles. The only series that I haven't caught up with right now that's out is the Dark Artificers. I think there's Lady Midnight and there's one other book that came out this year in that series, and there'll probably be another one coming out soon-ish. I haven't started that series, but I'm really happy with how much I've caught up on the Shadowhunters world. My fifth reading goal is one that I didn't quite meet, and that was to reread Harry Potter again. This is something that I tend to do a lot anyway, but I ended up rereading the first 4 Harry Potter books, so I got up to Goblet of Fire, and then I haven't reread from the Order of the Phoenix on. But I will do that, I'm sure, at some point soon. So when I keep rereading, I'm just going to continue from the Order of the Phoenix onwards. My sixth reading goal was to reduce the number of unread books on my shelf. I had 39 unread books on my shelf, which to some people that's not a lot, to some people that's probably heaps. Most of them were books that I bought like secondhand when I was in high school. I used to buy a lot of classics secondhand. Nowadays I only really buy books that I've read from the library and really enjoyed and wanted to like add to my collection, like books that I'd want to reread kind of thing. But I do have, yeah, those 39 unread books on my shelf. I actually, amazingly, even though I have bought some books, like especially for uni next year and things like that, that I haven't read yet, I reduced, even with like having made those purchases, I reduced the overall number of unread books on my shelf to 30. So even though I've bought more books, so I would have had a higher number than 39, I've reduced it down to 30 overall, which I'm really happy with. I think that's really cool because I didn't think I'd really reduced it at all. So especially having bought more books, I thought it would have gone up. So I'm happy with that. I kind of made a bit of an effort to read some of the books that I already owned that I hadn't read this year. So pleased with how that's come out. I'm excited about that, and I want to keep reading those books, and I really want to whittle down my collection a bit more because there are a lot of books on the shelf that I'm not like super excited about anymore, so I want to get through reading them and see what ones I want to keep. My 7th reading goal was one that I kind of just threw in for like a, I don't know about this, but it was to read like the complete works of 2 different authors. One of them was Rainbow Rowell, and the only book of hers that I hadn't read was Landline. I did read that this year, didn't really like it, but I'm glad that I've read all of her books now. All of her other books are amazing. Landline, for some reason for me, I just didn't love it. But I've read her Runaways comic series that came out this year. I just received the 3rd one in the mail, so I'm going to be reading that shortly, but I'm pretty much caught up with those, which is cool. And what else? Almost Midnight, I haven't read that. It's a little duology. I've read Kindred Spirits, which is one of the short stories in that duology, but duology I mean like anthology of 2 short stories, not an actual duology. So I have read Kindred Spirits, but I haven't read her story Midnights, which is in that little collection called Almost Midnight, so that one I need to read at some point. But yeah, and then the other one was I wanted to read like the complete works of Jacqueline Wilson. Jacqueline Wilson was one of my favorite authors when I was a kid, and she writes a lot of great books for young girls, like preteen or even younger, and I read a lot of them as a kid, and I just wanted to get through and like read all the ones that I hadn't read because she constantly is like publishing more books. But I actually completely failed with this one. I didn't read any Jacqueline Wilson throughout the year. I think I just kind of forgot about it, and I never really remembered to look for Jacqueline Wilson books at the library because they're actually in the kids section rather than the YA section, so I tend not to look in the kids section, like I just forget. So that's something that I will probably pick up her books like eventually, but yeah, that was kind of just a goal that I threw in for fun. So overall, I'm really happy with how I did with my reading goals for 2017, especially like reading more classics and more books by New Zealand authors. I think those were the 2 that like meant the most to me, and I'm really excited that I managed to do that. So yeah, that's it for this video for now. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you for watching. If you had any reading goals this year, let me know how you did with those in the comments down below. I would love to know, and I will see you guys with another video in a couple days. Bye.